guys, welcome back to the 12 Days of Foundation. As you may have noticed, I have been testing out a ton of new foundations. Over 12 days, I am doing 12 foundation reviews on my oily skin. Today it is all about this one from Mercier. It is the Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. It was requested by some of you and I was really curious about it myself. I actually don't have a ton of experience with the brand. So as always, I will link to some timestamps down below and foundation shades that I am in more popular shades if you're trying to match yourself, but let's go ahead and get started. This foundation from Mercier was launched sometime within the last 4 or 5 months. I'm not completely sure, but you're getting 20 different shades in the range. It retails for 59 Canadian, 48 American. You're getting a fluid ounce in here, which is the average size of a foundation, and it comes with a pump, which is always exciting. A nice, flat, simple glass frosted bottle. I'm going to be wearing the shade 3W1 Dusk today. I actually think it might be a smidge light for me, which is very rare. Generally, foundations that I pick out are too dark, but I'll be able to fix it up with bronzing and powdering. And as I mentioned, I don't have a ton of experience with this brand. I actually recently got the Mercier loose setting powder, which is so highly coveted. I have one of her lip glosses in the shade Blush, which I got in a Gimme More lip set years ago, and I absolutely love it. I should probably repurchase a fresh one. And I actually recently bought a bronzer of hers too, just because I was kind of curious about the line. So let me know down below if you have any Mercier recommendations, but I'm going to go ahead and put this on my face. I will prime this half of my face and we will talk about some of the claims because it's got some big ones. I have a lot of active breakouts right now, a lot of acne scarring. I don't know if it's from like all the videos I've been filming or the stress of the holidays or whatever it is, but either way we'll be able to put this to the test coverage wise. It claims to be medium to full coverage and good for all skin types with a matte finish. And what I will say is it actually pumps out quite a little bit of product. That's not a good way to put it, but each pump is really, really small, so you can really kind of control how much you get. This is 2 full pumps here on my hand, which is like barely 1 pump from most foundations, so I do appreciate that because you're not going to overdo it. So I am going to put those both on my face, and I'm going to use a brush today. I'm using the Sephora number 56 Pro airbrush brush, and I've been liking that. And it says it has 15-hour wear, it's transfer resistant, matte, lightweight, medium to full coverage, so it sounds really, really good. So as you can see, it gives a nice amount of coverage, but I am going to try and build it up a little bit more. I'm going to use 2 more pumps, but remember the pumps are quite small. So it has a lot of claims about being transfer proof, wearing all day, setting on the skin, and when you actually look in the description, it says it's especially good for normal to oily, and it's also oil-free, non-comedogenic, dermatologist tested, so if you have sensitive skin, it seems like, and it does claim that it is good for sensitive skin. Blends out really, really nicely. I think you could use a sponge with this as well. I'm just not a sponge person, really. I'm kind of getting back into it, actually, ironically. After talking about, I feel like in all of these foundation reviews, how much I don't like sponges, I've been finding myself reaching for a sponge. I don't know why. Maybe just because I'm like hearing the word sponge and feeling like I need to get back into it again for variety's sake. So there you can see it's definitely added some more coverage, really evened out my skin, and it just looks super smooth on the skin versus this side. So as you can see, this definitely has a medium to full coverage. All of the redness has gone out of my face. Pretty much everything is essentially covered up. I didn't want to build it up anymore because I don't like to build up foundations too much, but it does feel really lightweight on the skin. What I will say is that if you do have a lot of texture on your skin, because it is more of a matte finish, that is something you may want to consider when priming or exfoliating prior to application. But otherwise, it feels incredibly lightweight and the finish on the skin is really nice. It's not a super flat matte. There is a little bit of a sheen to my skin. It has set down quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup and we will see how it fares in photos, which I think is going to be not so good because as you can see, it's definitely a little bit light on my skin, but we will see how it goes. A little bronzer can go a long way. I used the Mercier bronzer that I was mentioning that's kind of new to me. Super beautiful, but in person it actually is a pretty dead-on match for like my neck and face. It's just that my shoulders are a little bit warmer and golden, but it definitely is a good color match. It doesn't look pale on my skin, although if I do end up really, really loving this, I may end up purchasing a shade that's a little bit deeper, or I can use some bronzing drops as well. But anyways, I think that this looks really good on the skin. It definitely has a leaning full coverage. I wouldn't say it's like the most extreme full coverage ever. That's the tricky thing right now with with foundations is like there's full coverage and then there's extreme full coverage. We need like another name because there's all these new foundations that are coming out that are just so like paint, not necessarily in a bad way, but they're just so high coverage. But this is definitely on the full side and it does feel really lightweight, really comfortable on the skin. The primed side is looking a little bit more smooth, but overall I don't feel like it looks dry or flat on the skin, and I don't mind starting off a little bit dry because I know that my oils are going to come through anyways. And as always, if you're curious about anything else that is on my face, it will all be listed down below. Moving on to the photos, this is where it gets a little bit interesting and as to be expected, where it is a little bit lighter on my skin. I don't even want to show you these photos. It's not so good. In my filming lighting, however, it does look good. You can see it has ever so slightly a sheen to the skin, but it is quite matte. Then when I turned off my ring light and had much lower light with flash, you can see there is quite a bit of flashback. And then in an essentially dark room with just the foundation, no bronzer, no blush, no eyebrows, no mascara, no lip gloss even, it's quite ghosty. So luckily I never really take photos of myself like that unless I'm doing something like this, so that's good. But something to keep in mind, it's hard to tell if it's because the shade is off or not, but it doesn't claim to be to have an SPF in there, so I am getting a little bit of flashback, but not a huge issue. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead about my day and I will check back with you in some natural light so you can see how it really looks. Here we are in some natural light. It's a little bit later of a check-in than normal. I actually went out to lunch and I was out and about for a couple of hours, but things look really good considering I was out and about. I was wearing a hat that was quite tight to my head, had a scarf on because it's incredibly cold now. I don't know why I'm always surprised when it gets cold, but things look really good. I will say that it did transfer onto the inside of my hat a little bit. I didn't notice anything on my scarf, but I don't actually notice on my head where it actually transferred, so as long as it doesn't patch off on my skin, that's kind of all that matters to me. I will blot. I don't feel like I really need to, but I will do it anyways, just in case. A little bit of oil. And just for fun, I'll add a little powder just to the center of my face. But otherwise, it feels really good on my skin. Doesn't feel heavy or cakey. Doesn't feel like the oils are pushing through. It feels really nice and secure on my face. I really don't know if this would be a good one for dry skin. Of course, you let me know in the comments if you do enjoy this and have dry skin or if you have oily skin. But otherwise, it feels really good on my skin. So I am going to wear it for a few more hours and we'll see how it holds up. I think I am, however, going to put my hair in a hair mask because I'm going to wash my hair and film later on again tonight, so when I come back later, don't be alarmed. So here I am in all my glory. It has been a little bit longer than I was anticipating. I actually ended up taking an accidental nap. I was like lying down on my computer, fell asleep with my hand on my computer, and just woke up and I was like, what, who am I? So that's why I'm still wearing this mangy hoodie. My hair is up in a bun, but I think we're all friends here and we can accept the fact that this is just the real me. So anyways, let's talk about how the foundation held up. I actually think it held up pretty good considering I've been wearing it for quite some time. I took a nap, I was outside in the cold wearing a hat, nose was running, cold like winter air, so I am gonna blot a little bit. I'm definitely a little bit shiny in the center of my face. Nothing crazy shiny though, especially considering I took a little nap. However, I find if I fall asleep while I'm like doing a foundation review or testing a foundation, my body like knows not to move around too much or something. I don't know what it is, but it held up really well. I slept on this side of my face and I don't see anywhere that it wore away, and I know I was kind of sleeping like this, so that is pretty impressive. It has worn away a little bit around my nose area. I'm gonna dust a little bit of mattifying powder down the center of my face, and I definitely don't think it has oxidized at all. It looks the exact same shade as when I put it on, and the primed side was looking more matte than the unprimed side as well. I really do like this foundation. This isn't my first time wearing it. I have been enjoying using it, and I think it just gives really beautiful coverage. It doesn't oxidize, it doesn't patch away, doesn't feel heavy or cakey or look that way either. So I think if you have oily skin and you are curious about this, that it's definitely a one to try. Also, if you have combination or normal skin, I can't totally speak to dry skin because I do feel like it is a little bit flat. So it definitely doesn't have like any sheen to it, especially once you've powdered it. If you were to leave it unpowdered, it may be a bit of a different story, but I think that that flatness sometimes can be perceived as a bad thing, but when you have oily skin, it's like, you sometimes want things to be flat, and you can add a dimension into the rest of your face so that it just kind of keeps the oils at bay. Overall, I'm really happy with the way that this wore, and I will definitely continue to wear it, and I am really interested to try and get into some more Laura Mercier products now that I have worn this product. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for another review tomorrow. I'll be reviewing a new drugstore foundation. That's my cat sneezing in the background if you heard that. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!